Another bill looked at by the House Human Services Committee today involved regulating pregnancy resource centers that receive state funding. If passed, these facilities would have to follow certain guidelines, including having a qualified health care provider on hand and providing budget information to the state. Supporters say it's necessary, as some claim they provide inaccurate information to sway women away from abortion. Fargo Representative Liz Conmey says it comes after she was told that these organizations were advised not to talk to her about their services.
These are not outrageous requirements for an organization that receives state funds to provide health resources to pregnant women. These requirements, in fact, are how we protect pregnant women and get value from our financial commitment.
The state's Right to Life organization testified online, saying it adds unnecessary red tape.